You know, we often have great intentions of wanting to make mosaic Christmas ornaments, and then when the time comes, we realize that we've run out of time. And so what I'm hoping that this video will do is help you plan things out so that there are no regrets. So that next Christmas, you're not looking back saying, I wish I would have made mosaic Christmas ornaments. Am I projecting my own issues? Maybe so, but I'm trying to eliminate that for you. Let's change things this year, because by the time you get to the 10th one, you've got your feet under you and you're sort of like a well-oiled machine with cutting and tiling and adhering and creating your beautiful ornaments. Let's get to it. Welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Julie. And on this channel, we talk about tips, tricks, tools, adhesives, materials, and specific mosaic projects, all to shorten your learning curve when it comes to creating mosaic art. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. Mosaic Christmas ornaments are a popular and fun thing to make and give as gifts during the holidays. They're a small enough project so you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. In other words, they aren't a project that will go on and on. If you know the recipient's likes and dislikes, then it helps in your decision making regarding theme and color choices of the ornament, even if you plan to make multiple of the same exact design. Now, if you've been here around my channel for a short minute, you know that I've done a number of tutorials here on my channel that have to do with a variety of materials with Christmas ornaments. From pique assiette ornaments using a client's old ceramic vase. I also made ornaments from a client's wedding dishes to celebrate and commemorate her 25th wedding anniversary. To mixed media ornaments using a client's terracotta brick. I've also made stained glass ornaments where I didn't grout with traditional grout. And I also made some mixed media mosaic ornaments for a client to give to her daughters. And in each of these videos, I conducted the tutorials in the exact same way as I always do, which is I take the viewer by the hand and I guide you from the very beginning of the project all the way through to completion. I start at the beginning with how to prep substrates, and we move on to why I chose the specific tesserae colors and tesserae types, how to cut and score the tesserae, and then of course the tiling, grouting, and finishing off. I've also done videos on acceptable Christmas ornament substrate types, as well as how to finish off your ornaments with special hangers. So I'll include a list to the Christmas playlist that I've put together down below in the description in case you're looking for a little inspiration and guidance. But in today's video, we're not going to be talking about any of that sort of stuff. You can watch those other videos for that. But in today's video, we're actually going to talk about the getting started part of making Christmas mosaics and the planning process. You know, we often have great intentions of wanting to make mosaic Christmas ornaments, and then when the time comes, we realize that we've run out of time. And so what I'm hoping that this video will do is help you plan things out so that there are no regrets. So that next Christmas, you're not looking back saying, I wish I would have made mosaic Christmas ornaments. And am I projecting my own issues? Maybe so, but I'm trying to eliminate that for you. Let's change things this year. So in today's video, we'll talk about how to come up with a plan for your mosaic ornaments and ultimately get started and complete them in time for your recipient to enjoy them for the entire holiday season. Can I get an amen? We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Now I've got some easy steps for us to go through which are going to help you come up with a plan. It's multi-steps. I don't want you to get intimidated. As we go through them, you'll see that some of them are quite short or small to complete, but I just want to make sure that you cover all your bases because all of this stuff is going to go into your master plan. And in talking about things and clarifying things, we may discuss something that you didn't think about or weren't aware that you should think about. And also some ways in how you can attack your Christmas ornaments in a way to strategically use what you have, strategically stretch your budget, and also stretch your time. That's a biggie, right? Because we all know tiling mosaics, that takes time. So we're going to try to hit a number of things in this video so that we can bring that timeline down into a little tighter, more organized stretch of your life. Having said that, you're going to want to get your pen and notebook ready because you're going to be taking notes in this video today. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of what you need to take into consideration when planning out your ornaments, we need to have a little real talk here. You and me need to have a little real talk on, realistically, how much time do you have to devote to making the ornaments? What does your calendar look like? So for instance, if you're watching this video and you look on the calendar and the calendar says December 20th, and you want to make 10 or 15 or 20 ornaments to give to family, friends, co-workers, and all that sort of stuff, I'm going to keep it real with you, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm your friend here, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your, it's just not going to happen. We have to be realistic. Is it possible? Maybe if you have 10 to make, but also keep in mind, you've got a life to live. You need to get your substrates and your tesserae. Some adhesives take time to dry. You've got to cut all of them. You've got to grout. You've got to finish them off. You've got to get them delivered to the recipients. 4 days for all that work? I don't think so. I don't think so. So let's not stress ourselves out. The holidays are stressful enough. They're emotionally charged. Plus, when we're making these mosaics, we want to enjoy the process, right? We want to enjoy the process. There's a reason we want to do this for our loved ones and our co-workers. So we want to enjoy the process, and giving yourself a very smart window to get it all done is gonna stress yourself out. It is. So let's look at the calendar and be realistic, okay? Because you want to do a great job. Let's be honest. Your mosaic ornament may be the first and only time that these particular recipients are going to receive a mosaic from you. So we want to make a great first impression. So let's give ourselves the gift of time, enough time to get these ornaments done. So step one is look at the calendar and be realistic about your schedule given where you're at on the calendar and how many ornaments you want to make. We will get to tracking your time and how to better plan things out, but we're just throwing it out there. Look at the calendar, be realistic of your time. How much do you have time to dedicate to this project? The second step is to make a list of all the ornaments and or people you'd like to make an ornament for. So it doesn't matter if all of the ornaments will be the same or different. I'm sensing a spreadsheet coming on. Can you feel it? Yeah. I love this little organization that we're going through here. You might want to make a more elaborate ornament for a family member, and let's say not so elaborate for someone you work with. Not throwing shade, just being honest here. So you want to make a list so you know what you're working with. If you want all of your ornaments to be the same shape, then that's fine too. Just put those recipients' names on the list first. Okay, step 3, You want to think about the themes of your ornaments, the design. If you're going to be making all of the ornaments exactly the same, then that is your theme or your design, whatever it is. If you'd rather make a different ornament design for each recipient on your list, then write it down next to their name. Get specific in your theme, meaning include whatever details you know off the top of your head. So I'm talking about things like, if you know the shape of the ornament substrate that you'd like to use, then write that down. Let's say you want to make a mitten ornament for Kristen, then write it down next to her name. If the recipient has favorite colors, write that information down. If the recipient loves red hearts or pineapples, then write that down. You want to get all of those details on your list so you can start looking for overlap. I know this may sound like a lot already and we're only a couple steps in, but I assure you as we get deeper into your ornaments, this is going to help to clarify things for you. Having it all written down and just go in and see where the overlap is, and hopefully we'll talk about it later, but hopefully we can make some strategic decisions to save you time, budget, all that good stuff that we just talked about a little bit earlier. And I'm talking a lot with my hands, so I'm going to stop. And like I mentioned earlier, you want to look for overlap on your list, especially if you're going to be making different ornaments for different folks. Which brings us to step 4, which is to buy your substrates. If you aren't getting so granular with the exact shape or design for each recipient, then my advice would be to buy a variety pack of substrates. And you've got lots of options because variety packs come in a few different ways. There are holiday themed variety packs of ornament substrates, which can include traditional shapes like a stocking, a tree, an angel, a snowflake, a snowman, round ornament, etc. There are also other themed packs like all sea life, or all woodland animals, or all flowers. You get the idea. Or you could buy a pack of ornament substrates which include just one identical shape, like all circles, all squares, all rectangles, all diamonds. There are even packs of wood slices which can be used as ornament substrates. And there are multi-packs available of all ceramic substrates, or all glass substrates, or all acrylic substrates. So you have a lot of options if you want to buy a variety pack instead of just one individual substrate. I'll include a list of ornament packs down below in the description in case you're looking for a little inspiration and guidance with your own mosaic Christmas ornaments. If the shapes of the ornaments you want to make are more random, meaning some might be Christmas themed as well as, let's say, a cat, a dog, a cowboy boot, a heart, a boat, etc., then you might want to visit your local craft store and check out the unfinished wood aisle. There, you'll find wood shapes for multi-use purposes, which are usually the size of a standard Christmas ornament. But keep in mind that these types of wood shapes usually require you to drill a hole in them for the hanger, so you want to plan accordingly. Next up is step 5, and it's a fun one because now you get to think about the design for each of your ornaments. Now, if you're just planning to tile your ornaments in a loose or freeform pattern, meaning you're not going to keep to a certain design, then there's really nothing for you to sketch out unless you just want to sketch out a few examples just to get your creative juices going. But if that's not the case, if your ornaments are each going to have a different design, then now's the time to get a piece of paper out and sketch your design. Make sure you include some of those little details, or you can sketch right on the actual substrate. Doing this is going to help you in the next step. Now, regarding your design, especially if you're going to make a lot of ornaments, you don't want your design to be too elaborate. once you have a too elaborate design, you may run over in time, the time that you've allotted in your schedule for the tiling. And we're going to circle back around and talk about your timeline a little later in this video, but you don't want to run out of time, because when that happens, then we get stressed, we get anxious, and we are no longer enjoying the tiling process. We don't want that. So you don't want to get too elaborate with your design. Simpler is better, and it will still be a stunning mosaic ornament. And also later in the video, we will talk about ways to encourage and create a simpler design on your mosaic ornaments when we get to the timeline portion of this video. We're up to step 6, which is selecting the tesserae you'll use. Oh, we all love tesserae, don't we? So this includes the colors you'd like to use and the types of tesserae you'd prefer. Are you going to use plates, bowls, and cups, or do you need specific glass tile or stained glass or some sort of stone? And don't forget about any special items you may want to include, like millefiori or murini, or even found objects. When we were talking earlier about overlap, take a look at your list and the designs you've sketched for each of the ornaments to see if there's a way for you to use the same tesserae for multiple, if not all of your ornaments. Can you find a way to maximize what you have in your tesserae stash already, and at the same time try to minimize what you plan to buy? Now's the time to plan and gather these things up and write them down on your list next to the name they belong to. As we all know, sometimes online orders can take a crazy long time to arrive. If you order something online, write a little note on your spreadsheet that you ordered it on the date, just so you know it's in the works. So I would dedicate some time, just as you did with shopping for and ordering your substrates, to pull together the tesserae you'll need and place those orders for what you don't already have. And while you're at it, make sure you have the correct tools you'll need to cut the tesserae you're planning to use. So once you actually have your tesserae in your possession, that is the time that I would start thinking about the adhesive you want to use. And I'm saying this because not all tesserae are the same thickness. And for instance, if you want a flat surface level of your ornament, you may need to build up certain tesserae to get everything up to the same level. So hold off on selecting your adhesive until the tesserae comes. And another point, you may be wanting to use a particular tesserae that may be transparent or semi-transparent, and maybe that wasn't obvious in the description for that tesserae when you were ordering it online, let's say. So when that sort of stuff comes, you're going to want to be a little more strategic in the adhesive that you choose so that you can't look through the tesserae and see the substrate through it. So you're going to want to choose one adhesive over another. So that's why I say wait until you get your tesserae, wait until it all arrives, and then you can think about what adhesive or adhesives you want to use on your ornaments. Step 7 is to plan your workflow. If your substrates are unfinished wood, then you need to prep them before you can adhere your mosaic work. You can watch my process in any of the Christmas ornament tutorials, which are included in my Christmas playlist, which I'll link below in the description. Also, if any of the substrates need a hole drilled in them for a hanger, now's the time to take care of that. And now, my friends, we have come to the fork in the road or the split in the road, because you have a couple different options on which direction you want to take your workflow. You could tile each ornament individually, meaning you're going to tile the entire thing before moving on to the next one. Or if you have ornaments which share the same exact tesserae, you could tile that tesserae on each of the substrates before moving on to the next tesserae type or color. I like to think of this workflow as an assembly line. Now, I know that sounds very much like a factory, but you are far from it. You're still hand tiling each ornament, but you're just choosing to work with one tesserae type across all of the ornaments which require that one tesserae type. And then you can move on to the next tesserae type that is shared by other ornaments. And so on until you've either tiled all of the ornaments because they all shared the same exact tesserae, or you no longer have tesserae that is shared by other ornaments, and now it's time for you to finish off each of the ornaments individually using the tesserae types that are required. So there's no right or wrong way to go about your workflow. It's totally personal. If all of the ornaments are the exact same way, then I would go with the assembly line method. To me, that sounds like the thing that I would do and I have done with previous projects. But if each ornament is different, I would tile them individually even if some of them share the same tesserae color or type. This way, you're able to stay focused on the ornament you're working on, which usually helps you get into a state of mosaic flow, meaning things are going smoothly and you're enjoying the tiling process. Once all of your ornaments have been tiled and the adhesive is dry, it's time to move on to step 8. So this is where you decide the grout color, and not all of your ornaments have to be the same grout color. You could have each of them a different grout color if you wanted to, although that sounds like a lot of work to me. But just know that these are your works of art. You are the boss. You can decide what colors you want. They could all be the same, they could be different, they could be split up into groups. But this is the time to make that decision. If you do decide that you want your ornaments to be in different groups of grout colors, go ahead and do that at this time, and then you're ready to grout. And understand that grouting could take a little bit of time in your schedule, or it could take a lot of time in your schedule. It really depends on how intricate of a design do you have on your ornaments, and how many different colors. Are you going to have to, be finished with one grout color and then go and mix another grout color and be done with that, and then mix another grout color and then be done with that? So it is a little subjective. In cases where I've had a set of ornaments where they were going to get different grout colors, the groups were going to get different grout colors, I would grout the group of ornaments that had the least number of ornaments in it first. I would do those, and then the group that had the most items in it, I would save that for last. And that's usually because by that point, I'm so tired. I'm not going to want to go and mix up a little bit of grout for just a couple ornaments. So instead of doing the harder thing first, I did the reverse and did the easy stuff first and then saved the biggest group for last. But that's just how I don't know, it's just how I do it. And again, I suggest doing all of your grouting in the same day so you can get it all done, and then you take your group of completed grouted ornaments and you move them on to the next step together. This next step, step 9, is the finishing off step, which includes signing your artwork, painting or sealing any untiled areas, and of course adding hangers to all of your gorgeous ornaments. For specific steps on what I do to finish off ornaments, you can check out any of the tutorial videos in my Christmas playlist, which I'll link below in the description. So now we need to circle back to your timeline and try to figure out how are you going to get all of this work done. Now, all of these steps that we've talked about today may seem like a lot of work, but really when you get down to it, some of them may take an hour, maybe half a day, whereas others, like tiling, are going to take multiple hours, multiple days. So how do you factor the time for each ornament to see if you'll actually have enough time to complete everything, especially if you're tiling a lot of ornaments? Well, that answer depends on the individual artist and how simple or intricate the ornament design is. Which means, and this takes us back to something we discussed earlier in the video, you want to come up with a design that's not too tricky and elaborate. But a rule of thumb for me is that I try not to spend more than 1.5 to 2 hours of tiling for each ornament. Now, of course, sometimes I choose to spend more time because I've factored in that additional time into my schedule. But by and large, I try to stick to a tight timeline, especially if I'm tiling a large number of ornaments. And if they're all exactly the same, then the tiling goes much quicker. If you're new to mosaic making and you have no idea how long it's going to take you to tile an ornament, much less 10 of them or whatever, my suggestion would be to tile one from beginning to end. Tile one, focused on that ornament, and see how long it takes you. And then you know that that's probably your, let's say, worst case scenario, because by the time you get to the 10th one, you've got your feet under you and you're sort of like a well-oiled machine with cutting and tiling and adhering and creating your beautiful ornaments. Another tip, especially if you're new at mosaic making, is to rely heavily on certain types of tesserae. And this could be huge in helping you create a more simpler design. Meaning you could use some mosaic tesserae as is, which don't require any cutting at all. So this can include tesserae like ceramic penny tile, pre-cut stained glass shapes, glass gems, murini, small ceramic square tile, ceramic or glass shapes, millefiori, and found objects, just to name a few. You can still cut your own tesserae and combine it or collaborate with these pre-cut fun shapes that work as is and don't require any cutting. So you still are utilizing your own cutting skills and maybe some special tesserae that you have, but you're also incorporating some other pieces. And what's going to happen is your substrate, the surface of your substrate, is going to start to fill in nicely, and you didn't have to do all of that cutting because you've used some tesserae that are good as is and don't require you to cut, score, or whatever. So obviously this will cut down the time that you spend with your tiling, and you will still end up with gorgeous mosaic Christmas ornaments. I'll include a list down below in the description for variety packs of substrates that you might find interesting, especially if you're shopping for substrates at this time or you're looking for a little inspiration or guidance. Check, check, and check. I feel like I kind of need it, you know? So I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, we want to get into a mosaic flow state of life. Yeah. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. Where were we? Got a phone call. Okay, let's get back to it. Can you believe we're talking about Christmas already? This year has just flown by by. I can't believe that Halloween is next week. Wow. So basically the year is done, all done, all done. It is so done. Wow, 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 wow. That is crazy. Absolutely nuts. But let me know in the comments if you are planning to make some mosaic Christmas ornaments, because I would love to see them. Yes, I would. But let me know. And if you're on Instagram, you can tag me. I'd love to take a look. Yeah, I'm not making any this year. This is probably the first year in a very long time that I'm not making any. So I'm gonna live vicariously through you. But anyways, thank you for spending a little time with me today. I so appreciate you, and I'll see you soon. Bye. For more mosaic inspiration, check out one of these two videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.